For me, it's just disappointing because I never see like curly hair characters like ever, basically, when I'm watching anime, right?
Let's have the first part just be called grievances.
We need to talk about like the elephant in the room about this episode for a minute. So if you don't want to hear criticism, just skip to our reaction, okay? But I think that, you know, the criticism is okay. Making criticism is okay. I feel like that, especially because a lot of people have this perception that we'll just shill for Rooster Teeth at any opportunity. I feel like that, especially
the people
when
that feel that way aren't that familiar with our
and
channel.
so I just feel like that we should like talk about when we do have an issue. In the RWBY fairy tale book, there was illustrations, pictures went along with the
really excellent illustrations.
Very beautiful. And the warrior in the woods looked like this. This warrior looks like this. And so I understand before, because people were like, actually, Calxiyn, if you watched the episode, you would know that Taiyang is projecting onto the warrior. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't give a fuck about the reason.
Yeah.
I was very much looking forward to seeing this warrior on screen, and instead we get Taiyang's manic pixie dream girl. So all that I'm saying is that I'm a little disappointed in the fact that they didn't come to like a compromise with this idea, because it would have been very like simple, not simple in terms of budget, that I don't know, but in terms of like executing this idea that Tai is projecting something because of his own experience compared to like the story that Ozpin wrote in the fairy tale book. They could have had Ozpin narrate half and then Tai narrate the other half and keep the original warrior, and that would have like solved the problem. And Hunter was like, what about the budget? And I'm like, do they not have a budget for one extra character?
Maybe not.
Well, that's concerning.
I don't know.
Right? You know what I mean? Like that, if they don't have the budget for one more character
you know what I learned? You know what I learned, like, watching people react to media?
What?
Is that people, by and large, are really dumb. And they will not pick up on nuances in a story unless you pry open their mouth and force feed it into them.
Okay, so, but what does that have to do with this?
What I'm saying is that a bunch of people would be very confused if at one point, like, the hunters...
The warrior here, and then the warrior
is like a light-skinned black girl with curly hair, and another time it looks like Ruby or Summer.
Yeah,
people are dumb.
Know what
I'm not saying the idea wouldn't work.
Right.
If you work at Rooster Teeth, you must realize
if you had Ozpin and Taiyang narrating, though, wouldn't people understand? Because it's a different narrator. So,
they're dumb, though.
But are they? I feel like that's insulting the audience's intelligence, which maybe, I mean,
but sometimes you gotta insult the audience's intelligence.
So Hunter is kind of being a bit more fair than me, I guess. But like, here's the thing.
I know, I get why you're upset.
Yeah. I know. You bring up a valid point, of course. But I don't know. It's personal, okay? Because I don't have curly hair today, but if you guys have watched my videos, you know that I have curly hair, right? And so and I'm gonna tell you why my hair is like this, okay? I was so excited when in the fairy tale book, there was someone with curly hair, because until the Hunter's children, because two of the girls have like curly hair, like implied curly hair, right? It's just kind of like, they're kind of like square shape, like they're flat because it's 2D, but like it counts,
good.
Right? They looked nice, and so they count, but like until then, nobody in RWBY has curly hair. I don't even think I've watched an anime where any of the characters really have curly hair. Except for Persona, which is a video game, where Haru kind of has like this curly, like, floof thing going on. But like, I was so excited because I was like, guys, this is our first curly hair character. We're going for it, you know? Like, I was happy about it. And I know that in 3D there are certain limitations. So I was like, the show is 2D, so they can finally do it. This is the perfect opportunity to do hair texture that they've been having problems with in 3D in the 2D. Right? And so for me, it's just disappointing because I never see like curly hair characters like ever, basically, when I'm watching anime, right? Like the only characters I can think of are like Moana and Merida. And then like also in Miraculous, there's a character with like very like curly hair, right? And so it stung me especially yesterday because I was at the hair salon, clearly. This should be a happy video. I should be telling you guys how hot I am, but instead, so I'm at at the salon and the lady's like, okay, so how are we gonna style this after she dyed my hair? And I said, I want you to put curly product through my hair and scrunch it. Like, I basically told her what I do. I showed her a picture of how I regularly wear it. She was like, but it would look better blown out. It would look better straight. And I was just like, well, who the fuck are you telling me it would look better straight? Because it looks nice.
I've never been any version of straight my entire life, lady.
You know? And so I'm not saying it doesn't look nice, but it's not me, you know? And so she was like, okay, we'll blow it out and then I'll curl it. Then we can do it. And so this lady spends like 50 minutes making individual ringlets in my hair. And obviously, as you can tell, she brushed them all out and did this to me. And so I feel like that this just hit at a bad time because I was already upset because curly girls cannot have shit in this world, okay? And I know that sounds over dramatic, but it's so true.
Yeah.
And I can't get my hair cut at any salon because they don't know how to cut my hair. I've been here twice, and this lady has made curls and brushed through them 2 times, even though I told her not to. And I feel like that it was almost like, because she lied to me, she was like, yeah, we can do it exactly like your picture. And it was not, you know? And so it was almost like a weird, like, violation of, like, hair consent.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You're sitting in that chair as a customer, and you ask for something, and they totally disregard you because they think that, like, straight hair like this is the epitome of, like, beauty, I guess. And I know that it's not that deep. It's not that deep with Ty-Yang. It hurt a little bit to see that
why they did that.
You know.
Why they did that was because I haven't watched it, but I get the impression from talking to you and talking to other people that they wanted to make it so it looked like
Summer.
The Silverhide Warrior
possibly
was
like Raven.
Summer or someone related to RWBY and Yang.
Yeah.
And that's a fair
like a parallel. He's almost like thinking of Summer as he tells the story. No. And I get
if there was ever a reason to like change the like at least there's narrative sense why that happens.
And I know it makes sense.
But we exist in a world where like people with curly hair, especially people of color with curly hair.
That's a whole other conversation.
A lot of shit.
Right?
Which we are obviously, if you can't tell, and capable of having that conversation.
We're not even like we haven't even talked about the fact that in the book she was clearly a person of color, and then here she is pasty white.
But by doing that,
I'm not qualified to talk about that, so I just stuck to the hair.
But they dip a toe into that discourse.
Yeah.
Which is just putting way too much baggage onto this otherwise, I think, relatively sweet and straightforward and relatively memorable story.
Exactly. And so that's why I'm like, why didn't you couldn't y'all just have had like a little Ozpin? Just have Ozpin tell half of it because that would have solved everything, right? Maybe people would have been stupid, but at least people wouldn't be upset, you know?
Maybe.
I'd rather other people be stupid than me be upset.
You'd rather they do something a little bit more like the Faunest episode where you see the two different contrasting
and so that could have been like a thing, but that's not what they did. And like, so the reason why we're talking about this now, and I know that we've been talking for quite a while, right? But I wanted to get my grievances out at the beginning so we could go into this and actually react and try to like enjoy ourselves, right? I just wanted to explain why, like, I personally was very disappointed seeing the initial stuff for this episode because I know what they wanted to do. I know that they wanted to do the whole Ty-Yang is projecting his feelings thing, right? But like, I just feel like that there were other options, and then there's a whole conversation about the fact that like people were excited to see a black silver-eyed warrior or a person of color because like I mean
Maria,
right obviously Maria, but specifically they wanted to see this girl, and those were the people that supported and bought the book. Like, this series is basically being created to sell the book, right? But you gave like a tiny fuck you to the people that already bought it and supported it because you showed them that whatever they saw in that book doesn't mean shit. Like, it just doesn't matter. Whatever was in the source material and depicted in the source material doesn't matter. And it makes me a little worried about like After the Fall and Before the Dawn. And even Roman Holiday, because like they've marketed that as like, here's this fun like outside of the show material, but what if like actually in the show they go back on that? It's just a little bit of a, not a warning, but it's like a small red flag for the future in my opinion, kind of.
I don't know. I mean,
just like a little tiny
also,
one, you know?
in fairness to RT, we've talked a lot about how these things aren't set in stone, that they're just fairy tales and fairy tales change over time. What if the fairy tale version
like Ty's fairy tale version is
going to be different than this, which is Ty's version.
And I just wish that they illustrated that, like, in the actual story, because as far we haven't watched it, but I know that they didn't, right? So that's I wish that they thought about it more carefully, because they could have avoided mess. But instead, I don't know. It feels sometimes that Rooster Teeth doesn't have any foresight. Like, they didn't think that this would, like, you know, cause any sort of discourse, but like there are people in my Discord server that have very much expressed their disappointment that are POC fans that I know very well, and they're, you know, they feel a bit disappointed about about this. And again, like, I can't speak on that angle. I'm just trying to raise the issue to, I guess, you guys' attention, versus trying to be the spokesperson for that specifically. But the curly hair, I know, because I have been, you know, the person all of my life who has seen, you know, in the movies, the girl has curly hair and glasses like I do. I don't wear my glasses when we're recording. And then she takes her glasses off and they straighten her hair and suddenly she's hot. And so, like, I just feel like, I don't know. It's just personal, guys. It's just a personal thing.